Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. We got breaking news here on a Friday morning. It's my last full day in Colorado. Major stadium update. We're going to talk about it here. We're presented by Prize Picks, folks, and Indiana. The Indiana Bears. That's where it sounds like this is going. Now, nothing is official. Information is flying in. Unfortunately, it doesn't sound like this will be the last breaking news episode when it comes to the stadium saga, but I would say it's the most significant one yet. And that's because the Bears released a statement that the board of directors voted to advance their stadium project in Hammond, Indiana. I'm going to read their statement from George McCaskey and Kevin Warren saying, quote, "Yesterday, the Chicago Bears board of directors met and voted to advance our stadium development project in Hammond, Indiana, with the exact site to be selected. We believe a world-class stadium project in Hammond will transform the region, connecting northwest Indiana to the south side of Chicago through the loop and across neighborhoods and suburbs stretching north of the city. It will bring Chicagoland together and deliver new opportunities to its residents and businesses." So that certainly does not sound like a bluff. Now, is there a bluff in there? And what I mean by that is I think it's pretty clear that they're prepared to go to Indiana. You don't have your board of directors vote on it, and you don't have them pass it if you're not ready to go. But is within that announcement, which, by the way, it says a site to be selected. So it's not like shovels going in the ground next week. Like, there's still a lot to figure out there. But within that announcement, is there a little bluff in there still? And what I mean by that is it kind of like, all right, Illinois, we're ready to go. We're packing our bags. But if you call an emergency summer session, if you get your act together in the next month, we'll at least listen until we put that shovel in the ground. Feels like there's a little bit of that still in there, but I don't know. What is this? 95-5, 95% they're going to Indiana. Like, I do think the door is slightly cracked open. But as I said, when we were in the month of May and we knew the end of the legislative period in Illinois was wrapping up May 31st, I said, we will find out a lot about the Bears' intentions once May comes and goes if legislation doesn't pass about or for what the Bears need to build a stadium in the state of Illinois, tax certainty, so on and so forth. And as we talked about a few days ago, the House adjourned before voting on it, and their next legislative period isn't until November. Now, they can call a summer session, a special summer session, and maybe this is a play to try and get them to do that. But I said all along, the Bears' patience has to be running out on this thing. Like, how much longer are you going to wait on the state of Illinois to play ball? And it's just embarrassing on the state's part. And look, I think Kevin Warren's had missteps. I don't think the Bears have played this perfectly. They've kind of stretched themselves a lot throughout this process. Oh, let's make the city work. Other counties in Illinois are interested. Let's look into those. It's like they should have just been full steam ahead on Arlington Heights the minute they brought the property. But it seemed like Kevin Warren wanted to make it work on the lakefront in the city, which to an extent. But it's like they just bought this property, bro. Like, let's focus on that. Now, you could also blame George. George just handed Kevin the keys and said, make this happen any way you can. And it's not clearly he didn't tell Kevin to just focus on one location. So I don't think George's hands are clean of this either. But here we are 3 years later, and an announcement with intentions to go to Indiana have been revealed. So that's kind of where it sits as of now. As of filming this, I have not seen any statement from any Illinois politicians. I'll see if any more of that drops in the next few minutes or so as we continue with this video. But I've got a lot more thoughts on this, just on how this whole thing has played out. And if it does end up going this way, just what a disappointment for Illinois, the politicians, people who live there. Now, Hammond is closer to Chicago than Arlington Heights. And I've said all along, if the Bears build an awesome stadium, people will go. If they're good, they'll definitely go. The Chicago Bears are not going to evaporate because they're slightly crossing state lines, but they've been in Illinois for over 100 years. and now they're going to go to Indiana. There's just something weird about it. But we'll continue with the conversation here in a moment, and I'll see if there's any further updates flying in here. But do got to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor, Prize Picks. You guys know the drill. You pick more or less on stat projections available, and if you hit, you win money. It's as simple as that. Plus, OG Flex Friday is back. It's a protected play, and what that means is based on your account, go to the promos tab, you can see it. They're going to give you a lineup where you can spend either 5, 10, I think up to $50 depending on your account status. If you win a lot, it's only going to be a $5 lineup. If you lose a lot, it's going to be they'll give you more money to play. But you can do a flex lineup, which means if you miss up to once in your lineup, you still win. And also, if you lose the lineup altogether, they're going to give you the money back into your promo fund. So for me, I can do a $5 flex play lineup. So if I don't win, they're going to put $5 into my promo fund. So it's a complete freebie, no downside whatsoever. So download the Prize Picks app, get started today. Use code HMA to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup in general with Prize Picks. And go check out OG Flex Friday. Hell of a deal. Awesome opportunity. You got game 2 tonight. Awesome stuff. I'm working on my lineup right now. So check out Flex Friday. Really, really awesome stuff. Link in the comments and description. Okay, let's get back to the stadium conversation. I do want to read a tweet from Courtney Cronin. She's got some reporting on this. She says, while I'm being told the Bears announcement on Hammond is, quote, real, in other words, not a leverage play, a league source told me that the Bears leaving the state is not a done deal. Per source, Indiana is in the lead right now, but, quote, Illinois can still get back in the race, close quote. Granted, the state has a lot of ground to make up after not passing legislation that would have ensured the Bears' property tax certainty. So again, that screams to me, call a summer session or we're out of here, right? They're not waiting till November. If they do, this whole thing's been a bluff. Indiana was never a real play. I don't see how anyone could take you seriously if you announce that your board of directors passed a vote to advance a stadium project in Indiana if you weren't willing to do so. Like, I think they're serious about this. I do think their preference has and will continue to be until they can't wait any longer to stay in Illinois. But their patience is running out, like I predicted it would be, because I put myself in their shoes. We're years into this and we don't have a solution. Eventually, ownership is going to run out of patience. They're tired of the back and forth. Like these other cities and teams, yeah, well, it's always complicated and you got to figure out a lot of things, how it impacts taxpayers, so on and so forth, how much money the team is putting up, private equity, all that stuff. It doesn't take this long. Illinois is just so slow on these things. And I think deep down, they probably didn't think that the Indiana thing was real. And I think the Bears proved today that it certainly seems like it is. And look, if it ends up going this way, it's just a disappointing outcome. Again, I'm not born and raised in the city of Chicago or anything like that, but like the Bears belong in Illinois. It will be a little bit awkward if they go to Hammond. Again, it's closer to Chicago, so in the end, it's not going to be the end of the world, especially if the stadium is awesome and if the team is good and all that stuff. Like, the New York Giants and New York Jets play in New Jersey. Like a lot of these teams don't play in the city that's on the chest of their jersey. So, I'm not going to throw a fit about it, but man, it's just, you just are like, come on, man. Why can't these politicians figure it out? It's just so frustrating. And why can't the team do a better job? I don't think Kevin Warren has done a great job. I think he was qualified with his experience with the Minnesota Stadium. I do think he probably didn't fully know what he was getting into with this state's politicians when it comes to stuff like this. But still, like it's just the fact that we're here is just so disappointing. So you guys let me know. Do you think this is a done deal? Are the Bears Indiana bound? Type Y for yes or type in for no. If you think it's a bluff, let me know on that as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the way out of here. We'll have more Bears content to come, more updates. I've got a few more videos ready for you guys too, so be on the lookout for those. My name is Harrison Graham. Hit that sub button and bear down.